Welcome into the New Orleans Saints podcast. You'll hear from players, coaches, broadcasters, and writers that cover the NFL on a daily basis. The New Orleans Saints podcast starts right now. Here's your host, Erin Summers.
Welcome into the New Orleans Saints podcast. I'm Erin Summers. For today's episode, John DeShazier and I got to sit down with several players who recently signed with the Saints. Defensive back Will Harris and offensive tackles Justin Herron and Shane Lemieux. Harris was originally drafted by the Detroit Lions in 2019 in the third round. Throughout his 5 seasons in Detroit, Harris played safety, cornerback, and nickel, in addition to significant roles on special teams. He's up first. Well, welcome to New Orleans. It's great having you here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Going into this offseason, you're making a change for the first time, going to a new team. What was that process like?
It was kind of one of those things that, I tried to kind of, keep the main thing, just train, stayed in my regimen throughout the off season and kind of just, let my agent handle, everything as far as free agency wise. But, I got the call to come here, man. And I was ecstatic, because, you hear about the culture of New Orleans and, the city and the team. You hear about the culture, you hear about the way guys play and, how much it means to, guys who come here and play. You hear so much about, what it means to them and, the culture that they've set over the years here. So, man, I was super excited, man, to get in and be able to contribute any way I can.
Okay, so growing up, your dad played for Buffalo, or he was drafted by Buffalo.
Yes.
How long did he play?
I believe he played for Buffalo for a few years and then played for Jacksonville for a few years as well.
But he's from Biloxi.
Yep.
So are you guys Saints fans? Were you? Was the family at all?
Oh, yeah. So everybody around there was Saints fans.
Yeah, okay.
Especially the whole coast, it's Saints all the way. And so my pops, we have family in Biloxi. My dad he was born in Moss Point, Mississippi, which is right down the road from there as well. So, they all call it the coast. It's it's all one, city for real. It's all love. And, you feel that, they right down the street from here. And so everybody is all, Saints fans, kind of growing up, going to my pops' side of the family, for the summer or whatever. So it's crazy being here because, I got about 200 unread calls or 200 unread texts right now from all of my cousins on my pop side. So they all gonna be flooding in to the Saints games and stuff like that. So they already were. So now it's even more of a reason to come for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You said you were ecstatic. I'm sure they were as well.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
You're going to have a lot of tickets that you're going to have to figure out how to get.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at. Yeah, man, they were happy. And in a sense, it feels like I'm coming home. Yes, because I have family here, but also just because I've been here for a couple days, and ever since I got here, man, you could kind of just walking into the facility, you see guys work, you see you see the way guys interact with each other. You could tell it means a lot to the guys here, man, and the way they work, in the classroom, on the field, all the little things in the weight room, man. You could, I'm happy to be a part of it, and I'm happy to be able to contribute.
Yeah, you got a taste of what the Saints culture might be like because your defensive coordinator, Erin and Dan Campbell, coming from the Saints to Detroit. What did you learn from them about, this franchise?
Oh yeah. I mean, I learned a ton, and you could tell by the way just being around them, being around Dan, being around AG, you could tell just being around them how they thought, and they kind of bring, they brought all of those ways of thinking over to Detroit from New Orleans, and they were proud to say it. I mean, they would say, all right, hey, this is what we did when we was in New Orleans. This is what this is how we did it in New Orleans, or whatever. And I know that they were, New Orleans was a place that, we aspired to be, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So when we would talk to AG, he'd be like, hey, we did it like this in New Orleans. He'd be like, all right, okay, cool. let's do it here. Let's do it there now. And I'm not even talking about playbook wise. I'm talking more just culture wise and just having kind of those sayings, some of the sayings that we had, and just sticking to it and having accountability within the defense to play for the man next to you. So
how excited are you to come here and be a part of a defense that has been so historically one of the ones that everybody looks at? Crazy.
Top 10 defense and for the last however many years, like forever, and so and I knew that just because who doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like you look at the Saints defense, like they always, been up there. So, I got the call to come here, man, and it just clicked, man. And being able to be, a part of something like that, I take a lot of pride, and I'm super appreciative of the fact that, them even picking up the phone, to reach out to me to be a part of something as great as this, man, is, that means a lot to me, and I don't take that lightly at all. And so, my job on my end, I'm coming every day and just work and try to contribute as much as I can.
Since you were drafted in 2019, you've jumped around the defense. You've played corner, safety, nickel, and then spent a lot of time on special teams. So versatility is obviously there for you. But how hard is it to not get reps at one position constantly and then go into a game and play, be ready to go at wherever they need you? Right.
I mean, it's definitely a responsibility. That's something that you kind of have to have. You got to be locked in mentally throughout the game week. You have to prepare, as if you're going to be three different people. You got to prepare all the way, first, second down, third down, goal line, 2 minute, whatever. All the phases of the game, you got to prepare that as a safety. Then, boom, you got to go back and prepare that same way as a nickel. And in some instances, you got to go back again and prepare again as a corner. And so there's definitely, there's a responsibility to doing that. And there's also a responsibility to, if a team's asking you to do that, they obviously see something in you that they're trusting you with that. So in my mind, I never wanted to do anything to kind of discredit that trust or to lose that trust from a coaching staff, because they saw me as a player who could do this. So I'm gonna do everything on my end that I can to make sure that I'm on my I got my T's crossed come game day. So
do you have a favorite position?
I do have a favorite, just on the field.
Okay, that's a good answer.
No doubt.
I know it's just kind of anything that you can do to get on the field for sure. You're going to be reunited with a former Detroit Lion that we recently got in Jamal Williams.
Yep.
Anybody else you're looking forward to being with?
It's crazy. I mean, I know a bunch of guys on the team from different, just out of the different walks of life or whatever. Just 6 degrees of separation, but I'm excited to get to know everybody. That's a work in progress. Just being able to to stop and kind of introduce myself to guys as I go along.
Sure.
Introduce myself with everyone in the building, and that'll take some time. But so I've been saying, man, just bear with me if I ask for your name twice, man. Just bear with me. But I'm gonna get there quick though. Just give me a couple of days, but I'm excited to meet all the guys, man.
What kind of personality are they getting in that locker room?
I'm big on like the family loyalty atmosphere, man. I'm really just I'm a mellow guy, but I get crunk about my family. You know what I'm saying? So if it's and my brothers, you know what I mean, that I'm trying to build, this relationship with in the locker room, it's the same way. I kind of, this tone of my voice, I'm kind of like that most of the time. On game days, man, going to war with my boys, man, that's a completely different situation. So I'm excited to build these relationships, with the guys in the locker room, man, and earn their trust. More importantly, by my work ethic and by the way I play. So that's the key part that I'm trying to do here.
So we're not going to get any crazy outfits or wild stories like Jamal had when he came.
Yeah. Jamal is like my is my little anime other side, dark side twin for real, because he's Jamal Williams and my middle name is Jamal, so it's like I'm William Jamal, he Jamal Williams. So it was crazy, man. When he was in Detroit, I knew him there. It was just like, man, I thought it was a front at first. I'm not even gonna lie. I thought it was a front, and I was like, nah. Like he is who he is, and that's what you got to respect most about him, is that he is unapologetically Jamal, and has a motor and a grind and a work ethic like no other. So he's a leader. And I'm excited, to be kind of, back with him. He's one of the first dudes that I saw when I came. I got off the flight, came into the locker room, and I ran right into Jamal. You know what I'm saying? We dapped it up immediately. So, yeah, that's my guy, man. And, I'm excited to be able to pad up with him again.
Yeah, that's great. I know when I was stalking you on social media, it took a while to find you because your handle is @Jamal, and I didn't understand it until then I saw that was your middle name. So a little sneaky, but
yeah, they had to. See, I got when you got the you did a little generic. I got the Will Harris. True. It's like I would have had to be Will _ Harris 98562, and I was like, nah, I'm not trying to do that. So I know the way my middle name is spelled, you got like the H is before the L, so I knew that no one else had that, so I'm gonna just take that handle.
Yeah. Can we take it back to college for a second?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you went to Boston College.
Yep.
I know you went to high school in Connecticut though.
Yep.
Right? But you're from Georgia.
Yep.
So it moved around a little bit before you ended up there. Why'd you pick Boston?
I started off high school, in Atlanta, and then made a transition out there. Ended up going to a school out in Connecticut, and that's what kind of changed my recruiting process from, dealing with, Southern schools to dealing with, the Syracuses and the UConns and the BCs or whatever in Pittsburgh. So, I wasn't very highly recruited at all. I had like 4 offers, and I met with BC. BC was actually my first offer, and again, it was crazy because I went there and visited and saw the culture and saw kind of what they were doing, especially on the defensive side. They had a coach there, defensive coordinator, Don Brown, who was the man, and I went on my visit. And I saw them practicing, and I saw guys. I'm gonna throw some names out there, but they were names before. These were guys out there practicing. You had Justin Simmons out there. You had John Johnson out there practicing on the same field. You had Isaac Yadon practicing out there. My boy Ike, who was here last year. So it's like you had all these guys out there playing DB who they just fundamentally very sound, and guys who were, you had guys like Justin playing corner, and then the next year playing safety, and then he stayed at safety. You had guys like John, playing corner, going to nickel, then playing safety. It's the same. So that kind of versatility, that kind of moving around, that was something that I was accustomed to, back before I even took my first snap. In college, my first time visiting, kind of seeing those guys do it is what made me want to, try my hand in it. So
sure, you mentioned the culture there at Boston College. One of the most well-known events there is the Red Bandana game that they do every year. Started in 2014, right before you got there. What was that like, being a part of that? Man,
that's crazy. That's crazy. If you ever in the Northeast area or whatever, you just a football fan, I think that's one of the stops that you definitely got to make, because the whole city rallies behind Wells Crowther and his family for what he was able to do, the heroic events that he had during the tragic day 9/11, but being able to celebrate him, be able to play for him, and the whole city get behind that. It's crazy. It's crazy. And so, like we did, the red bandana, gear and stuff like that. But even more than that, man, it was just like the stadium, was rocking more so just because, it was usually a night game, usually, against, a good opponent or whatever. But even more than that, it was an opportunity for the whole city of Boston to kind of regroup and get around get behind, a great person who did something historically great, for the country. So, that game was always rocking. So if it's never failed on a bye week for me, but throughout my career. But if it ever does, I'm in there.
Yeah, I believe it.
For sure.
Did you feel like you had to win that game?
Oh yeah. It would. That was kind of like during each week that we played it. That was kind of the thing. It's like, like we got to get right. I mean, that's the thing with every game, for us. But at the same time, man, you get that little bit of extra juice for sure.
Yeah.
Playing with that bandana on you. So, is
that one of your favorite football memories, or do you have one in your pro career?
I would say any chance that, and this is gonna sound like generic or whatever, but like it is true. Any chance that I'm able to be in those crunch time situations, right, with guys who you look to your left and look to you, like guys you work with every day, guys who you're studying with, you're eating with, you working out with, you practicing with, you putting in real work with every day with those guys, and you out there and it's crunch time and it's hard, you know what I'm saying, and you're tired, you know what I mean, and you got to go out there and bring the game home and seal the game. Those are the times that I remember. Those are the most memorable times for me in my career, college or pro. Just being with my guys in those situations, game on the line, we got to have it. We got to have a play right now, and so I'm getting goosebumps right now just talking about it. But like it's true. Those are the times that I always remember, and I can remember a bunch of them just throughout my my whole playing career, and so that's one of the things I'm excited to do here, man, because one thing about this team I've seen over the years, man, when the defense got to go out there and do it, man, they do it. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
You're getting me fired up. Like, hey, I want to see you on the field.
I'm trying to tell you, man. I'm so excited to be down here, man. And that's an understatement, man. There's not enough words to describe it. So, just ready to get to work and continue to build.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate all the football talk, but outside of football, what do you like?
Let me tell you something. This place, Drago's, got a hold on me. Like we, when I was in Detroit, we came down here last year.
Yeah.
And played in New Orleans, and that was my first time having it. And they brought out the dozen of the char grilled oysters. They brought out 2 dozens of those, but it was like 7 or 8 of the guys I was with. And we was like, yeah, let's get 2 dozen. Like, they just oysters, you know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't we gonna get some oysters along with some other stuff, whatever. Them oysters came out, and I had 2, and I was like, yo. I said, whoever's back there making those, please tell them to never stop doing that.
Yeah.
Whatever they're doing back there, tell them to keep that going. And also, I need a whole dozen to myself. Yesterday, I had it last night, a dozen char grilled oysters.
So would it be a good time to tell you that every Friday during the season we get them here?
Ooh, yeah, oh man. See, that's crazy. Y'all just, y'all doing it.
They come and they cook them right outside the cafeteria.
Yeah, that's insane. I'm like, who's what are y'all putting in these oysters to make them that good? Ain't no way these oysters supposed to be tasting that good. But I'm excited, man, because my mom was hitting me up, sending me all types of food places that she's trying to hit. So if anybody got, I'll put this on the record. If anyone has food, recs or, food places to go or little vibes to go, man, hit my line for real.
Yeah.
It's so much, just good energy out here, good food, good music, good atmosphere. So, I'm excited.
Yeah, and that's on X. It's at JAMAHL.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. Yep.
So people can send you all of their recommendations.
Hey, if you're trying to go eat, let me know. Especially if it's all this seafood, man. I love seafood. So kind of getting back in my seafood bag as far as, the oysters, the crawfish, the shrimp and grits. I need to know where I can get some good shrimp and grits, And then it works well with the nutrition and straight protein, so we good.
As long as you don't put anything too crazy on it.
Right. Exactly. You can't be going crazy.
Yeah. So you like food. Do you have any other hobbies? Anything else you do?
I play a lot of golf. Also, I'm gonna preface this by saying if anyone has any recs for anything any of these things, let me know. But golf, play a lot of golf. Got into that about 4 years ago. So, love being out there. Golf, love going to going to see a movie. I don't even know if people do that anymore, but I still like going like in the theaters to see a movie or whatever. And then when the family's in town, kick it with the family. So I'm pretty laid back, but I do like to catch a vibe here and there,
Yeah, you're going to fit in just fine around here. Lots of vibes.
For sure.
And lots of very good food.
No doubt.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the New Orleans Saints podcast. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing you on the field soon. It's not far away. OTAs are like in a couple weeks.
No doubt. Well, I'm excited. Can I just do one thing? 'Cause I've never been able to do that. Like, it's who that, right?
Yeah.
Is the who that? Can I get that who that? I mean, that's crazy, man. All right, I just had to say it. I had to get it out because I done had it in my head for too long and hadn't been able to say it out loud yet. So I just wanted to. But that's crazy, man. That's
You're
the culture. That's the culture I was talking about, man. That's wild. So let's get it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Offensive tackle Justin Herron is a 4-year vet who has primarily played at left tackle. He was drafted by the Patriots in 2020 out of Wake Forest and was most recently with the Raiders from 2022 to 2023. Here's Justin. Justin, thanks so much for joining us on the New Orleans Saints podcast. Welcome to New Orleans, the Saints. How excited are you to be here with the organization?
I'm super excited. I mean, it's a great opportunity. It has a rich history of, so I think it was, like I said before, it was a no-brainer to come and be a part of this organization, this great team.
What did you know about the organization that has made you feel that way?
The one thing that growing up as a kid and watching Drew Brees and just watching Sean Payton coach, it was the mentality. It was the mentality of how they played football. Mm-hmm. I think when you watch the Saints and you put on any Saints tape, I think what stands out is the physicality. Every play, we're the most physical team on the field. So that's something that always stood out to me. And even when I was playing on other teams, that's something that also stood out to me as well. It's like a physical they played. And then after a game, it's just how sore I was or the other team was playing the Saints.
So looking at the Saints defensive line, obviously.
Yeah.
Justin, I'll be Captain Obvious here. The Saints had a need, and you are a player who can fill that need. How much does that play into the decision?
I think, I think you can't really think about that. I think the most important thing is just make sure that you're getting better every day and control what you can control. I think if I were to be like, focusing on that's not. I don't think the most important thing. The most important thing is just making sure that I'm getting better every day, making sure I'm the best player that I can be that day, and just optimize every day that I'm in here. So yeah.
Yeah, 11 NFL starts primarily at left tackle.
Yes.
How comfortable are you with the position and joining a team? Obviously, you know the quarterback here, Derek Carr, because you played with him before.
Yeah.
But how comfortable are you with that position and the outlook there?
Yeah, I am open to play any position. Yes, correct. I played left tackle predominantly throughout my whole career. But I feel comfortable playing there because that's what I played throughout my whole career. But whatever the team needs me to do, whatever position they need me to play, I'll be ready and whatever.
How much do you feel like you've developed over your NFL career so far?
I feel like every year I've steadily have improved and gotten better. I think that's the most important thing. I would say every year I've definitely gotten better. You know what I mean? I think the strides from year to year change. I think you make big strides from your first year to the second year. And then your strides might not necessarily be as big, or like your improvements might not be as big, but they're big enough for you to make a difference, and you play that a little bit better, that much better.
Now, of course, I got to get off football here a little bit because not all heroes wear capes.
Right.
Some of them wear football jerseys.
Yeah.
Now, so we're going to talk about that, the Outstanding Service Award that you got in in
2021,
Arizona.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, he's looking at me like he doesn't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, wait, this dude jumped out of somewhere and just thought something. So go through that with us. That was 2021, correct?
Yeah, yes.
So talk us through that.
Man, that was a crazy experience. So it was I was in Tempe. I was in Arizona, and that's where I live, and that's where I trained in the off season. And just doing the normal, it was a nice day. It wasn't like 115 degrees, so you can walk outside during the day. And I was just walking around this little trail that's not too far from where I was staying, and I just hearing like screams off in the distance, and it was just like something that you don't normally hear. Mm-hmm. And then look over, and you can see two people like kind of struggling to it just looked not. How should I put it? It definitely did not look like something that was supposed to be happening. And then I heard one more scream. I just ran over there and intervened. And it was just it happened so quick. And immediately I ran over there and intervened. It just stopped. Called the cops. And that was a very, very different experience for sure.
So instinctually, if that's a word, many people go the opposite direction instead of to the trouble.
Right.
So why did you go to the trouble?
That's funny. I was actually talking to my friend about this a couple of weeks ago. I was like, man, I always talk about like I will always in movies always run away from the trouble, and then when in this situation I found myself just running towards it. I think it's just always been like my mentality. I think why I play offensive line, because naturally I'm a protector, and that's something I enjoy, and I make sure that when people are around me, I want to make sure that everyone is safe and everyone's having a good time. So I guess all in all, that coming together is just like when I see someone who can't defend for themselves, I think it's important as like my job for being as big as I am, and like I think it's my job to like not necessarily my job, but to go and intervene as much as I can or help as much as I can without hurting the other individual or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a really cool way to look at it. And being an offensive lineman, you said protecting, is kind of part of your natural position, what you do. So what is the relationship like with Derek Carr and being back with him?
Oh man, Derek is a great player. I mean, I've been watching him ever since I was in high school and college, so I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for him. And then like when to be on the same team with him again it's amazing. He's a great leader, and he commands the room. He commands the offense, and I think that's what you need in any quarterback, someone who demands the best out of anyone and everyone, including himself, which he does. So I think I'm extremely excited to be here with him, and actually this time be with him for a whole year and not so I'm excited to see what happens and see how he does.
Yeah, that year you were with him got cut short a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
You tore your ACL.
Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
How was that to work through?
It's like any injury. Injuries are tough, especially the older you get. But I would say it's always a struggle. I'd say it's more of a mental struggle than it is a physical struggle. Mm-hmm. I think because we're all physically gifted to be playing professionally, but what a lot of people tend to forget is like the mental aspect of the game, and the mental aspects of being a professional football player. So when you have those injuries, it's always about like being able to, fight those negative thoughts or those emotions that come in that kind of try to deter you from what your goal is, which is getting back to where you were or even being better than where you were when you got hurt.
Yeah. I mean, you said it, you're gifted, but your father was an athlete, your uncle was an athlete. They played basketball.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
JD was saying he remembers your dad at Villanova.
Yeah, really?
I'm old. So
my dad would be really happy to hear that. He would love that.
Okay, so your dad, Richie, played, and
yes,
your uncle, Keith, played in the NBA.
Yes, he did.
What are you doing playing football? What we doing here?
So a long time. So growing up, I played basketball and baseball, and those were my sports. And it's so funny. My dad he'd be laughing when he hears this, but my dad and I always thought I was going to be tall, like taller. We thought I was going to be 6'8". Growing up, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be 6'8", man. Yeah, you're gonna be a great basketball player, right?" And so we even told my high school basketball coach that, because that's what we thought, right? And then I got to like 6'4", and I just stopped. And I was just like, ooh. I said, Dad, I don't think I can play center at 6'4", and he was like, I don't think so either. But then at the high school that I went to, they kind of encourage you to play a fall sport. And football, it was either football or soccer, and I chose football. And it was something that just came naturally to me. And the one thing I like about football that one of my old guys I used to train with said was, football's like really the only sport where if you mess up on the play before, you can go harder the next play and make up for it. Can't really do that in basketball. If you get a foul, you can't go and say, I'm going to foul the net dude hard. Yeah. No, you can't do that. In golf, you can't say, I messed up that swing, I'm going to swing hard. It doesn't work that way. But in football, if someone beats you can just go harder than him the next play. And you usually, it turns out pretty good.
Yeah, you get multiple opportunities. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very true. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you said you played multiple sports, but you also played the trumpet.
I did play a trumpet.
In the jazz band, which is very fitting, being down here now.
Yeah, I know. So I haven't played in a long time, but I do. Jazz is definitely a little part of my soul. Growing up and playing the trumpet up until like my sophomore year of college, so it's definitely has a lot. Part of my personality is definitely makes me who I am.
I feel like we've gotten to know you a little bit, but what is your personality like?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, for me, all my friends will always tell you I'm just very laid back, very chill, very go with the flow, and what I try to do is always try to see is the glass half full. Everything, just try to stay positive, and life is too short, and I think you got to stay positive and just have fun with life, So that's the type of person that I am.
No, that's how you work through an injury, like an ACL?
Yeah, just got to stay positive and make jokes out of it. That's the only way. I've done it once before, so I know how. So you just got to make jokes and just keep rolling with the punches.
You went to Wake Forest, which I went to UNC, so I always am curious why ACC is not like the biggest football conference. So why people decide to go?
So it's funny because I was actually committed to Rutgers before, but it's funny because I never really thought about the conference. I would say though, when I was coming up, I felt like the ACC. I mean, I still to this day I feel like every team has great players. I just so. The biggest reason why I chose Wake Forest was because they gave me an opportunity to play left tackle at my height, which is kind of unheard of. But they let me do it stay there and prove that I can play it. And then it was great competition. I mean, play at Wake Forest, you play against Clemson, you play against Florida State, NC State, UNC. You play against really teams when I was in college were top 25 teams every year.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it's either the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten, or the Pac-12. And like for me, I was just getting a lot of ACC looks, and Wake Forest was the best opportunity, and also great education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say great teams in the ACC, I thought you were going to say every team but UNC. But
I know you said that in there at the end.
Right there, but you let that one slide by. I appreciate that. I get that from you. So you say your height, but you're 6'5". So how do you compensate for what you feel like might be lacking?
That's a really great question. I think what I try to do is make sure that I'm technically sound in everything that I do. I think when you have those physical attributes, you can get away with certain things that that don't have to be technically sound because you're so athletic and you're just gifted physically that sometimes you can of those things can kind of. But for me, my biggest thing was always being a technician, and especially for being my size, it's just like you gotta understand that I might not be physically dominating everyone, but I have to make sure that I'm technically dominating you. So if I'm technically dominating you, it doesn't really matter how big or strong or how fast you are. My technique is more sound than you,
Okay, well, since you're sitting in here with a sleeveless shirt on, I can see that you have one sleeve and one clean arm.
Yes.
But what's behind the tattoos?
Oh, okay. So I'm kind of like a big nerd, but so my dad and I's favorite movie growing up was Predator. That was the first rated R movie I've ever watched, and so I can quote that movie verbatim. We just actually when he came 2 weeks ago, my dad and I watched it all day. So I got Predator on my arm, and so for me, I'm big into movies and posters. So I wanted to kind of have it like a poster for each on my arm. So I got Predator, the big one, and there's like a little small collage right here of a smaller one, like same, but like
the Schwarzenegger Predator.
Yeah,
Predator
and then I got Arnie right here.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
went too far when they went,
Right.
Yeah.
So I got Arnie right here because it's the original, and
Yeah.
we got the helicopters from the movie, and then so growing up as a kid too, I'm big into like Japanese pop culture. My parents would be like, "Oh, here he goes again talking about it." But so growing up as a kid, I was loved like anime, and Godzilla was big thing for me. So that's why I have another like poster set on my lower half, which is more of like the Japanese culture of like all their monsters and stuff that I like.
Okay.
And it's been a huge like I don't know. It's just who I am. And so for me, growing up as a kid, I used to be embarrassed to talk about it. So for me, I was like, I'm gonna get a tattoo, so I'm gonna have to talk about it. And now it's more accepted because everyone is like, so everyone's just like, oh, it's not as weird anymore as it used to be.
Mm-hmm. You'd be good friends with Jamal Williams.
Yeah. We already been talking all that stuff, so it's all good.
And if you're into music, then that means you and Colin Saunders
Yeah.
should have some connection. Because I don't know if Colin does jazz or not. He's pretty versatile, got a great voice, so maybe you guys can collaborate on something.
Well, it's a little something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were trying to get them to put together an album, like the Eagles did that one time.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, they should have done a Christmas thing.
Yeah.
They really should have, but it would have.
It's not too late.
Colin probably say, I don't know if anybody else can actually sing. He can, like sing. So he can't be up there with just anybody. He's got to be up there with people who can actually sing.
Got you.
Or otherwise, he's going to embarrass him.
Right.
He really is.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we'll see what happens. I appreciate you spending the time talking to us.
Thank you
and
for having
looking
me.
forward to seeing you out there on the field soon.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Offensive tackle Shane Lemieux is a 4-year vet who has spent his career with the New York Giants after getting drafted in 2020 out of Oregon. Lemieux has primarily played at left guard. Here's our conversation with Shane. Shane, thank you so much for joining us on the New Orleans Saints podcast. Welcome to the city, the team. How are things going?
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. Everything's going great so far. I love the city, kind of exploring, doing that kind of stuff. Great options for food. It's the first thing I noticed.
Yes.
It is hot out here. That's different than what I'm used to, but I love it.
Shane, it ain't hot yet.
Oh, that's what I've heard.
It is not.
That's what I've heard. This is a nice summer day in New Jersey right now.
Yeah, it isn't as calm as it'll get, but it's going to get a whole lot worse.
Yeah, how familiar are you with the South? Because you're from Washington, went to Oregon, and then played for the Giants, so it's all north.
Yeah. I really stayed mostly in the Northwest growing up. When I got drafted to the Giants, that was the first time I really was on the East Coast, and obviously that was a small town Washington, small Eugene, Oregon campus, all the way to New York City. So that was a big adjustment. But I've never really been to the South, but I'm excited to be here.
So why the Saints? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, the Saints have some needs along the offensive line. You're an offensive lineman, so but why the Saints? Why this team now?
Yeah, I really just enjoyed the workout with Coach Benton, the O-line coach here, talking to the coaches, talking to everyone around the building. It sounds, it's an exciting place to be. It sounds like a great place to be, and I'm just really fortunate. They added me here, and I'm just ready to get to work. So yeah.
You said that you remembered Benton from your combine workout too.
Yeah. So at the combine, you have meetings with basically every single offensive line coach. And I remember the coach with JB specifically, our meeting was great. And a lot of the stuff that I did at Oregon was similar schematically. So excited to get back to that.
Now, how much do you look at depth chart and such when you're choosing a team? Because, I mean, it would be naive to say you don't look at it at all. And yet, some people will say, but how much do you look at depth chart and say, okay, there's a real opportunity?
I really don't look at that. It's more of just I tore my bicep last year. So I was waiting to get healthy from that before I signed with the team. Saints was the first team on my docket to go visit and work out for. And I really just clicked at the workout, going in. I really had no, intentions or anything. And I just walked away loving the team and the organization, the city and everything. So,
you mentioned the torn bicep and you've had some other injuries, just kind of freakish stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. In college, I don't want to, beat my chest too much, but I had 52 consecutive starts. I set a record there. Prided myself on availability. And going into my rookie year, I was healthy. Going into second year, I hurt my patella and so on. This off season, I kind of made a switch. I changed my off season routine completely. Went to a different trainer, tried a lot of different things just to make my body durable throughout the year. So I'm really excited to put that to the test, and hopefully, we got some good stuff coming. So.
Yeah, what kind of things did you change, or what's been the biggest difference?
I think more, as I'm getting older, I'm only 26, but
I don't know how sad is that.
I'm not lifting as much weight as I've, done in the past. I pride myself in the weight room, work ethic and everything, but more of just prehab stuff, stretching, mobility, getting the treatment necessary, to continue, longevity, because a 17-game season is a long time. So, same time, callousing your body in the off season for training camp and throughout the season, but at the same time, taking care of yourself as well. So.
Yeah, you mentioned Benton, but you also played with Juwan Johnson when he was at Oregon.
Yeah.
So you have a couple relationships here already.
Yep.
What do you enjoy about joining a team and having some of that already established?
Yeah, walking into a team for the first time, you don't know where the cafeteria is, you don't know where anything is, but guys like Juwan, I played with Ugo Amadi too. Mm-hmm. He was at Oregon. Yeah. Nico Lalos was the Giants for a time. So just seeing familiar faces was really nice. And kind of just giving me, teaching me the ropes around here, where to stay, what's the easiest route to get here in the mornings. So Mandeville, I heard it's got a long bridge, so I heard not to live all the way over there.
That's that man.
I was like, I'm going to go explore one day, and started driving across it and did not realize that it would take an hour. Yeah. And then you're stuck and you got to come back. So.
Yeah, I believe it essentially is the longest bridge in America, correct? Yeah.
It's impressive. It's right outside my hotel room, so I see it. I'm like, wow.
Hey, speaking of Juwan, is he the same guy now as he was at Oregon?
Yeah. I think he's the epitome of a professional. I mean, at Oregon, he was always doing stuff behind the scenes, rehabbing his body, which I've seen him do now here. Before working out, he's always stretching. He's always doing stuff, and he's a hard worker. He was a wide receiver when he was at Oregon, so he transferred from Penn State my senior year and developed now into a tight end. But when he was a wide receiver at the Rose Bowl, he was a heck of a player. He won that game for us. I said that earlier, but yeah, he was a really good player. Yeah,
really outstanding, outgoing personality.
Yeah.
And the guy who, did he juggle the tennis balls here too?
No. See you do that out here?
He walks and he juggles. It's something to see. It really is something to see. Yeah. So what are you looking forward to most with this organization? Because this organization has been an organization that was, went through a streak of winning 3 consecutive division championships. Excuse me, 4, I believe. 4 consecutive division championships, and then, a couple of years now out of the playoffs. So what are you looking forward to most with this team?
I'm looking most forward, just right now, I've only been here, today's a week now. I'm just getting to know everyone's names in the building. I think that's one of the most important things to me, is knowing, who's the equipment staff, who's the janitor, that kind of stuff, because that means a lot and they help a lot. But I'm excited to win some games. I'm excited to have success. I'm excited to get the O-line camaraderie going and the chemistry going, because that's so crucial. But yeah.
Now, how tough is it? That first day of school feeling. Now you're a veteran now, as opposed to a rookie. But is it the same?
It's like different languages, Spanish versus English. People call it different things. There's some similarities, some crossover, but at the end of the day, it's like learning a new language. And I'm trying to learn everything all at once, and it's nice we have these OTAs and stuff where it's football school and they're teaching us, they're going slow, and we go over it multiple times, so it's nice that way.
From one standpoint, I guess everybody's on the ground level, because you have new offensive line coaches, so everybody's kind of trying to put it together. Does that help much with everybody kind of being in the same boat?
Yeah. I think the teaching's definitely slowed down more. It's nice having the fact that it's a whole new offense, so everyone's on the same page. Everyone's coming from different systems, or the system that was here before. So it's definitely nice, because a lot of times I feel like when you're coming into a place where there's a system that's been in place for 5-10 years, guys, kind of just like, it's almost just like a refresher when you're going over the installs and stuff. But now everyone's, opening a new book and opening a new page and learning stuff from ground zero. So it's nice.
There's a lot of new faces on the offensive line as well. So you talked about developing that chemistry, the O-line dinners. How important is that?
I think it's really important, getting to know guys outside of, the building and what their interests and hobbies are, their family, if they have kids. I think it's just, offensive line's a really different position than any other position on, the field, where 5 guys have to be in one way of going. So it's crucial that you understand the way people think, and
Speaking of family, kids, got to notice the ring. Your family, your kids.
Newlywed. Yeah, so I got married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I got married in February to my wife Amanda. So Jersey girl. Yep.
How does she feel about coming down here?
She's excited.
Okay.
She's never really been out to the South before. We were in New York the last 4 years, and she's excited for the new opportunity, a new journey. So I've told her all about the seafood spots, so she's excited. So my birthday's Sunday, so we're looking for a place. I heard Drago's is
Yeah.
Your
kind of the
birthday's
place.
Sunday. That's Mother's Day, then.
I know.
Oh,
Sure.
but man, if you don't have a reservation, it's going to be tough.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough.
That's what I'm hearing. So
Yeah.
Drago's is the place.
It is very good, and I think it's close to where you guys are staying,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's definitely perfect. Outside of football, though, what else do you like to do?
I lived in Arizona the last couple years to train there. We just moved our home base to New Jersey, so we have some land that we like, just messing around with. And that's pretty much it. We got a dog that we like to, hang out with, and really all I like to do is just go out to eat, try new restaurants. I like to exercise, go on hikes and stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of interested in getting into rebuilding old cars, so that's kind of one of my new hobbies I'm looking into. But yeah.
I know nothing about that.
Yeah, me neither right now, but I'm learning.
Dang, so you are starting from like the ground floor.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very intense hobby.
Yeah, it is.
Well, we appreciate the time on the podcast joining us, and of course, we look forward to seeing you on the field soon. Because as you said, OTAs they're right around the corner.
Yep. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate the players taking the time to sit down with us. They're in most mornings working out and getting acclimated to things around here. And this weekend, the rookies will all be in town as they have camp the 10th through the 12th. On Saturday, we'll have a ton of coverage on NewOrleansSaints.com as we'll get to talk to the players after camp that day. OTAs will get underway the week of the 20th, so it's here. The 2024 season is definitely upon us. Thanks for listening to the podcast this week. We'll be back next week to highlight the girls' flag football champs, De La Salle, and talk about the first season here in Louisiana.
Thanks for listening to the New Orleans Saints podcast. Join us 3 times per week on NewOrleansSaints.com, the Saints mobile app, or you can download the podcast on iTunes. We'll see you next time, right here on the New Orleans Saints podcast.